in Marlborough, and we just got to the point in the story where Nalakuvra and Manigriva, who had been cursed by Narada because of their really low class activities, he wanted to help them to become corrected and to understand that, well, you know what they say, crime doesn't pay. Have you heard that? Whoever said that had not been to South Africa. But anyway, the basic point is, because people, ultimately, they'll never get away with whatever it is. Because even if the police cannot get it together, or the criminals pay them more money than they get in wages, something like that. But Yamaraj, you can't bribe him. So it'll catch up with everyone. But yes, so they, Nalakuvra and Manigriva, I assume you all, or great majority of you, are familiar with the whole story. It's a fairly long story. So last night, they, having been freed from the curse of Narada, the curse that they would have to stand as trees, because they had been, what would you say, sort of prancing around and showing off in a state of complete undress. And when the great sage Narada Muni came by, they just carried on. They just didn't care. So to correct them, he cursed them to become trees for 100 years of the demigods. That's a long time. But with the blessing that at the end they would be delivered by Krishna himself. So that's what happened there. And they then offered their prayers to the Lord. That's what we did last night. We read the prayers, a couple of verses of the prayers, and they really got corrected. I mean, they really became corrected. So that's where we got to last night. And we're going to just conclude the story this evening, and there's a couple of points which Prabhupada brings out right at the end of, what is it, I think the 10th chapter of the 10th canto. A couple of points we haven't really looked at yet. But let us, to start off with, just to set the scene, let us read some verses from Gopal Champu of Srila Jiva Goswami, which just very nicely draw the story itself and the whole interaction between Lord Krishna and Mother Yashoda. They bring that whole interaction to a conclusion very beautifully in terms of the story itself. So please listen as we read this, and then we'll go into the final parts of the understandings. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yes, all right. So, well, I'll read some of the verses, but what happens just prior to that, to where I'm going to actually read, is that Lord Krishna, who had been tied by Mother Yashoda because he had been naughty, and really not just naughty, like normal naughty. It is, after all, one of the prescribed duties of children to be a little naughty, isn't it? If children were not naughty ever, it'd be boring, I think. Anyway, so Krishna was naughty. Mother Yashoda tied him. Then she went back to her household duties, leaving Krishna tied to the grinding mortar. But then Krishna crawled, dragging this big, heavy kitchen device. It was actually, you could say, a log of wood. Maybe about that round, not a massive log, but, pretty solid, and probably a meter high, so it's not light. And Krishna's only 3. Krishna crawled and pulled that grinding mortar behind him, which got stuck between the 2 trees. 2 trees like that. Krishna goes in between. Grinding mortar is a cross, and one end gets caught on that tree, the other end on that tree, and Krishna kept going and knocked those trees down, and they were really pretty solid trees. So then out came the demigods, as we said, Nala, Kuvara, and Manigriva. Is this anti-mosquito stuff, or is something on fire? Anyway, it adds a mystical tone to the atmosphere. All right, so Krishna knocks down trees. Nala, Kuvara, and Manigriva, the sons of Kuvera, who's one of the very highly placed demigods, they come out of the trees. They had been cursed to be to have the bodies of trees, but now Krishna delivered them, so they came out. These young demigods, effulgent beings. They're known in Sanskrit as devas, and one translation of the word deva in Sanskrit, which is applied in regard to the demigods, deva means effulgent. Yes, deva means the effulgent ones. We are generally not so effulgent, but they really shine. So they came out, and they were so happy to be delivered by Krishna, they offered their prayers. they offered their prayers. Nice prayers. So then Nanda Maharaj came, Krishna's father. And Nanda Maharaj, seeing Krishna tied up, he asked, who tied you up? And Krishna was in a bit of a mood. Yeah, he was in a bit of a mood. So Krishna, when Nanda Maharaj asked, who tied you up? Krishna said, it was mother. And Nanda Maharaj said, oh, were you naughty? You must have been naughty. And Krishna said, no. Sometimes when we're talking about this sort of thing, if there's a small child around, we ask them, are you ever naughty? And quite a few of them say, no. Do you always tell the truth? That's the next question. So Krishna's really in a bit of a mood, and he's still tied up. He's still tied up. He couldn't untie himself. That's the power of the devotee, of Mother Yashoda, the pure devotee. She was able to bind Krishna. And Krishna, who just then, just as we were saying, he has just delivered these two people from birth and death. Because Krishna told them, you can go back to the heavenly planets and you live out these lives, the rest of these lives, and then you'll come to me in the kingdom of God. So he's delivered them from the knots, being bound by birth and death. So Krishna just freed them from being bound by birth and death, which, it's so rare for that to happen. So many people don't even think about it. But 99.99, I'm not sure how many nines, but plenty, they don't get free. They're too tightly bound up. And Krishna just delivered them, unbound them. But Krishna was still bound by Mother Yashoda, and he couldn't escape. Now we can imagine, although it's not really discussed directly, he probably tried to escape when he was tied up. You wouldn't expect him to really take it lying down, so to speak. So we assume he did try to untie himself, but he couldn't. So then he went off with the grinding mortar and knocked down the trees. So anyway, there's Nanda Maharaj now. Yes. So, smiling, Vraja's king, Nanda, asked his son, "Dear one, will you go now to your mother?" Krishna replied, "No, I will go with you." Then the wives of Maharaj Nanda's elder brothers asked little Krishna, "Whose milk will you drink?" Because he's being breastfed. At whose breast will you drink? Krishna replied, "I will drink warm cow's milk mixed with sugar." In other words, don't talk to me about my mother. Something like that. And all the ladies then asked, "With whom will you play?" Krishna replied, "I will play with father." Yes. and I will stay in my brother's company. Vraja's king Nanda then said, will you go to your brother's mother then? I mean, this is one little detail of the pastime before, that while the tying was going on, or trying to go on, but the rope was always 2 fingers too short, Rohini, the mother of Lord Balaram, Krishna's brother, we say, she came by, and Krishna called out, Mata Rohini, stop her from doing this. But Rohini, being a wise and experienced mother herself, understood, I can't interfere with this. So she just walked away. So, right, will you not go to your brother's mother with tears of anger? Krishna replied, she abandoned me and went away. Hearing these words, weeping Rohini, that's the mother of Balaram, softly said, son, why are you so hard and cruel? You bring to your mother great suffering. Then Krishna, as if not hearing these words, gazed, tears in his eyes, at his father's face. With a gesture, Rohini signaled Balaram to bring Krishna to her. Balaram took Krishna by the hand, but Krishna threw away the hand of Balaram and at once sat in his father's lap. With both his arms, he encircled his father's neck. He showered a great rain of tears. Seeing his father gaze on him, Krishna was overcome with affection. Then Maharaj Nanda, seeing that in his heart Krishna still loved his mother, then Maharaj Nanda, to bring that love out into open view, suddenly raised his hand and said, I better explain this a little more than what's been said here. Nanda Maharaj, he's the father. Of course, he's very sensitive indeed to how his extremely dearly beloved son is feeling. So Nanda Maharaj, despite Krishna's anger that no, I will not go to her and all these types of things, Nanda Maharaj can see actually the affection, the love. It's just there beneath the surface of this apparent anger, but we got to bring it out from behind that anger. So he says something really radical. I mean, really, perhaps for those of you who are very sensitive, perhaps you should fasten your seatbelts when I say this or read this. So, Nanda Maharaj, seeing that in his heart Krishna still loved his mother, in order to bring that love into open view, suddenly raised his hand and said, son, if you give the word, I will ferociously beat your mother. Hari Bol. Don't worry too much, all right? It's a strategy, parental strategy. So, unable to tolerate that, Krishna suddenly grabbed his father's hand to stop him. In other words, it brought that love out, which was hidden to some degree by this childish anger. Again, smiling and thinking of how Mother Yashoda has a kind and affectionate heart, Maharaj Nanda said, if something were to happen to your mother, what would you do then? Using these words to hint at Mother Yashoda possibly dying, Maharaj Nanda spoke lightly of Krishna's anger. Tear-filled Krishna, manifesting the nature of a small boy, thirsted to be with his mother. Suddenly he said, where is my mother? I must go to her. Shyly, he approached Rohini and sat in her lap. Then, as everyone there softly chuckled, delighted Rohini took Krishna into the house to Mother Yashoda. There, Krishna embraced his mother's neck. As a cow touches her calf, Mother Yashoda touched her son's head and chin. As a cow makes a soft sound, so did she. Her heart melting with a mother's love, she wept, and she made everyone else weep also. So, yes, made peaceful by the other lady's words of reassurance, beautiful-faced Yashoda pleased her handsome-faced son with the milk of her breast. Yes. From that day on, the ladies of Vraja jokingly called Krishna by the name Damodar, he whose waist was bound by a rope. They affirmed, dark Krishna enchants every heart. Who in this world has the power to glorify Vraja's queen Yashoda? Even Brahma, Shiva, and Lakshmi cannot properly glorify even a small fragment of Mother Yashoda's glories. This truth, Srila Shukadev Goswami affirms. So, devotees and friends, there you go. In this way, the pastime basically concludes. Krishna and Mother Yashoda are reunited, and Krishna is untied, and the demigods, they go back to the heavenly planets. So there's a particular point. There's a particular point that I want to bring out as the concluding point. But before doing that, I just want to mention something that we've been mentioning regularly, actually, is that this pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna and all the intricacies of the story, how it develops in this way and that, and the different challenges there are which bring out different important points. A challenge like Mother Yashoda wanted to catch Krishna first. She wanted to tie him, but first she had to catch him. But it was really difficult, because who can catch God? Who can catch God? I remember when I was many years ago, I mean, it was probably 1973 or 4, when I was just a young devotee and a young fellow living in our temple in London, going out every day to distribute Prabhupada's books in the streets there in central London. And one day I approached a sort of wild-looking kind of hippie type, long hair and very unkempt, and, you know, he didn't look very organized at all. But I stopped him in the street and handed him a book and said a few words, trying to get him to take the book, when suddenly he just turned to me and said, "Can you show me God?" Sort of like, you know, "Can you show me your watch," or something, or "Can you show me this thing?" Like, just pull it out. "Oh, there it is. Oh, okay." "Can you show me God?" "Oh, yeah, right. There you go." So it was like that. There are many things that people may have even, but they can't just show them just like that. Like your money. I mean, I assume so many of you, maybe all, have some rands on you. But if someone said, "Show me all your money," you couldn't do that because you got money in the bank, you may own a house and different assets. Prabhupada talked about that. When someone said something similar to him, Prabhupada said, "Show me your intelligence." The fellow became stumped. So what do you do? Just, there it is. So show me God. It's really, I mean, just to show him, what to speak of, control him and get him to do what you want. But that is the position of Mother Yashoda, that she would tell Krishna, "Go get your father's shoes." When Nanda Maharaj was coming back in the afternoon, in the evening from cow herding, "Bring your father's slippers." And Krishna did not say, "Wait a minute, lady. I happen to be God. You don't tell me what to do. You want the slippers brought? You bring them." He has the right because he's God. But when Mother Yashoda told Krishna in that, sort of authoritative motherly way, "Krishna, go and bring your father's slippers," Krishna went and got them. He didn't say anything. He just went and got them and brought them. Such is the power. Such is the power of the devotee. Or, as Prabhupada puts it actually, such is the power of the love of the devotee. A devotee should not start thinking, an advanced devotee who Krishna is giving mercy to and fulfilling some desires. The devotee shouldn't think that, yes, I'm making advancements, so often when I ask Krishna for something, he provides it like it's me. But it's the love of the devotee. So this is what's displayed in this pastime, particularly the power of the love of a devotee. Not just any devotee. We can't think that we'll do like that just on the spot now. But we can take note of Mother Yashoda and really try and consider all the different elements here, how she was trying, how strong was her desire to help Krishna become a better person. Generally, every mother, at least every decent mother, wants their children to grow up to be like assets, you could say, to humanity, to the family, to become people of substance. Every decent parent wants that. And Mother Yashoda wanted that Krishna would not grow up to become a criminal, from stealing butter to stealing motor cars or ox carts or buffalo wagons. He was already Makanchor. Yeah, the butter thief. So she didn't want him to grow up like that. She wanted to correct him. She felt it was like her heart's mission, how to bring this boy up to become such a person that people will become proud of him. So therefore she wanted to discipline him. So we have to consider this, the intricacies, all the different things that happened, and how eventually, as that mood of motherly concern, mood of motherly love, she just sort of lost control of it. It just overflowed. It overflowed on top of Krishna, and then he couldn't stop her from catching him. Because like we said, it's not easy to catch him. So, but Mother Yashoda caught him, and then not only caught him, but she then tied him and restricted him. And there's God, and he can't move because of her power. So this is the essence, really, of the whole month of Damodar, the month of Kartik. And it's such an important message that for the whole month of 30 days or 31 days, whatever it is, for the entire month, we focus on it every single day. That means it's important. Then it's also important how Narada Muni, because there are two parts to the story, the catching and binding of Krishna, and then the knocking down of the trees and delivering of the two young demigods. So in that part of the story, Narada Muni was so concerned to help these two boys from really like super high level families, just about among the top 10 famous families in the universe. But these boys were just turning into crazy, crazy idiots. And, worse than idiots, just as, well, you know what they say in Hindi, murk. But not just ordinary murk, but mahamurk and megamurk. If you get to the megamurk level, I tell you, you're out of it. You're just about out of the picture. So he really felt bad, Narada Muni, seeing the despicable state they were in. So to help them, he did you might think a pretty incredible thing. He cursed them. If you see someone doing something wrong, don't curse them. Don't curse. We don't curse. Narada Muni is so powerful. If he just speaks a curse, a blessing, if he just speaks anything, it happens just like that, on the spot. So they just turned into trees, right there, on the spot. But it was actually to help them, as we say sometimes, tough love. It was really loving, but it was really tough. But it worked. And now they have come out. This is where at the end of the whole thing. And they are just rejoicing. They're just rejoicing. We are so fortunate. Yes, so Mother Yashoda was concerned. She took strong action to intervene and help. She didn't just sit back in front of TV and just not bother about it or tell you know what to do. Tell the maid, clean up the stuff that the mess he made while I watch the Muppets or something on television. I don't know what. Yeah, no. She was so concerned. Narada Muni was so concerned. This is the mood. These are the moods of devotees. They don't just feel like in the world today, they don't just feel that, well, let the world go to hell. We'll just chant Hare Krishna, have kirtan, take prasadam, and we'll be all right. And let the whole world go off the edge of the cliff and devastation set in. We'll be okay. Krishna will look after us. No, that devotee is a person who is concerned to help others who may not appreciate the need, that they have a great need to be helped. So just to conclude and to bring up another point, very closely related point. Let me just read a couple of verses here from the end of the 10th chapter of the 10th canto. The two young demigods thus offered prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although Sri Krishna, the Supreme Godhead, is the master of all and was certainly Gokuleshwar, the master of Gokula, he was bound to the wooden mortar by the ropes of the gopis, or Mother Yashoda, and therefore smiling widely, Krishna spoke to the sons of Kuvera the following words. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "The great Saint Narada Muni is very merciful. By his curse, he showed the greatest favor to both of you who were mad after material opulence and who had thus become blind. Although you fell from the higher planet, Swargaloka, and became trees, you were most favored by him. I knew of all these incidents from the very beginning." In other words, you can't pull the wool over Krishna's eyes. So then Krishna continues, and this is the point I want to bring out. When one is face to face with the sun, there is no longer darkness for one's eyes. Similarly, when one is face to face with a sadhu, a devotee, who is fully determined and surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one will no longer be subject to material bondage. So Krishna's emphasizing this point that they got the association of Narada Muni, who's really a sadhu, a devotee, a saintly person. So by becoming face to face with someone like that, a real sadhu, real devotee, one will no longer be subject to material bondage. So I want to read just a few sentences, Srila Prabhupada's purport. As stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 22, verse 54, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastre Koi, Lavamatra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. If by chance one meets a sadhu, a devotee, one's life is immediately successful. Excuse me. And one is freed from material bondage. It may be argued that whereas someone may receive a sadhu with great respect, someone else may not receive a sadhu with such respect. A sadhu, however, sadhu meaning saintly person, advanced devotee, a sadhu, however, is always equipoised toward everyone. Because of being a pure devotee, a sadhu is always ready to deliver Krishna consciousness without discrimination. As soon as one sees a sadhu, one naturally becomes free. Nonetheless, persons who are too much offensive, who commit Vaishnava aparads or offenses to a sadhu, will have to take some time before being rectified. This is also indicated herein. So that's the last point I want you to think about. And it's the last point which is drawn out here right at the end of the whole pastime and the quite lengthy description, 2 chapters. That's quite unusual. So this is the last point. The association of the devotees. Prabhupada, we are told, said that Krishna consciousness is 90% association. And just in general, association with whoever or whatever, just association, plays such a role in people's lives. There's a saying that if you associate with thieves, you become a thief. It's an old British saying. And Srila Prabhupada repeated it a few times. In other words, whoever you associate with, particularly in the sense of accepting their association, that you listen to them and you take into yourself what they say to you, because there's giving association and there's receiving, and they're quite different. So if you receive, whatever association you receive, you'll become like that. You'll become like that. It's unavoidable. Prabhupada points out in Nectar of Devotion that one person says that the soul is like crystal. Whenever you put crystal up to light, it just refracts the light. The light just comes straight through. So the soul is like crystal. Whoever's association we receive, will become like them. And interestingly enough, just as a side point, you know who said that? Hiranyakashipu to Prahlad, trying to warn him, don't associate with devotees. But, he had a good point. So we, from this story, let's learn this. I mean, there's a few things to learn, but this is our last lesson, as we've said, that we should really get good association, Krishna conscious association, and to whatever degree we're capable, we should really try our best to be and to give good association. And in this way, the society of devotees becomes just amazing, so wonderful. And as the association spreads out, then humanity becomes influenced. Humanity becomes influenced. This movement started in 1965 with one elderly man. And now, just sitting here, we have, a whole lot of people who are devotees, at least to one degree or another. So, as we create the society of devotees based on this principle of associating with saintly people and then reflecting that association, we can change the world. Change ourselves and then change the world. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar Ki. Shri Kartik Mas Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Go Premanande.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj Ki. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for giving us access to this mercy through the entire month, teaching us by, showing us rather, by this mercy being multiplied hundreds and hundreds of times, our acts of devotion in this month. So thank you so much. But devotees, today we have a secret to tell you all. And this is very confidential knowledge, that we know this month of Kartik is very auspicious. But the secret is that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says he's the month of Magha Shira, the month of November, December. So we can get extra mercy in this month of Magha Shira. We can get this access to this transcendental knowledge. And to tell you more about it, I'll invite His Grace Govardhan Prabhu to please come up and tell us how to get access to this transcendental knowledge in the month of Magha Shira. His Grace Govardhan Prabhu Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki.
Okay, yeah. Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimidandasya Gnananjanan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Shwapadantikam Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So as Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu was saying, the month of December has been designated by Srila Prabhupada to be a very special month. Hare Krishna. We come in Srila Prabhupada's parampara, in his line, his dynasty. Srila Prabhupada comes in the line of unselfish servants. You would see that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they were all very evangelistic. They were very concerned about the state of humanity, and they wanted to give this Raja Vidya, which is the king of knowledge. And as a matter of fact, there's a statement, there's a letter Srila Prabhupada wrote in 1967 where he was saying that the printing press is actually, this month of Kartik, which is the last day we're celebrating today, is actually, Radharani is actually the queen of Kartik. And Srila Prabhupada was making the point that the printing press is actually an expansion of Srimati Radharani. So we can understand Srila Prabhupada's mood and what he intended, and what he intended for us. And Maharaj was saying how Narada Muni was concerned about these two individuals, and Manigriva and Nalakuvera, and how they were saved. So in the same way, Vyasadeva, when he first, when Vyasadeva had the ability to see the future. So at the dawn of Kali Yuga, way before Kali Yuga, he was able to see the suffering of the living entities. And what did he do? What is his response? He immediately, in his mature state, he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam on the instructions of the same Narada Muni. And this Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada spent so much of time translating it so you and I can have it. And so many of his disciples have taken so much of the extracts of the Bhagavatam and put them into smaller books for all these fallen and forgotten conditioned souls. So this month of December that Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu is talking about is really the month where we want to do something special for the living entities. There's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I can't remember the exact verse, but the actual words in that verse is Vinodapatram. Vinodapatram means a joker, somebody who makes others laugh. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport, if you try to repay the debt of the spiritual master, those of us who come in this parampara and are initiated, and you try to pay the debt of the spiritual master, actually we're making a fool of ourselves, because it's a debt you cannot pay. It's not possible to repay the spiritual master. But the only way you repay the spiritual master is by preaching, by giving other people access to Krishna. So, such a devotee is called Arpita Prana. It refers to a devotee who has dedicated his life to serving Krishna. So in the month of December, something very unusual does happen. I know when December descends upon us, some or the other we're absorbed into family responsibility and we slow down, etc., etc. And it's natural because we've had a long, difficult year. But generally, all over the world, in the month of December, devotees want to give the good fortune, Ati Bhagena, this great fortune to other living entities. You see, the living entity in this world, they may appear to be dead. They may appear to be alive, walking around, but actually, they're actually dead, because they don't really have a connection with reality. So how do you wake or give something special to these group of individuals? You got to give them transcendental knowledge, something that they would read and connect again with Krishna. So bhakti by its nature, as you know, you would have read, the author of this book that Maharaj was reading, Jiva Goswami, he also wrote a very beautiful book called Bhakti Sandarbha. If you ever read this book, in that book, Jiva Goswami is saying that bhakti is self-manifest. It's not a result of karma. It's not a result of pious activity. It's not a result of mercy. It's purely, it's self-manifest. It's only the devotee, the sadhu kripa, that devotee's mercy. A devotee can give bhakti to somebody else. And how does the devotee give bhakti to somebody else? He has to obviously introduce them to the object of bhakti, who is Krishna. And the way to do that is through transcendental book distribution. All we need to do is distribute the book. Krishna has given us the free will. It's the devotee's free will who he approaches, when he approaches, to give them access to the beauty of Krishna consciousness. As I was saying, this material nature is like a puzzle, right? The entire material creation, there's no direction, no goal. And Krishna's external energy is very much like a puzzle. You can't quite figure out what's happening. Without knowledge about Krishna, one can get really lost in this material world. So we're begging the devotees, and we see we have Lokamanohar Prabhu here today and Shyamananda Prabhu. Hare Krishna. These two wonderful devotees have been the cause of us sitting here because they purchased this property we are sitting on. Can we give them a round of appreciation? And you'd notice wherever you see Lokamanohar, be it in a shopping center or in a car park, he always has books. And that's why Lokamanohar Prabhu has realized the importance of book distribution. So Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, these books that we have here tonight, they are in sets, right? So according to our capability, capacity, willingness, we are able to take whatever we can and distribute that. And if we wanted more, we're able to come back for more. And more importantly, every one of us should step forward and take a set of books. Give it to our neighbors, keep it in our cars when you're going shopping. Find some jiva, because Krishna expects that from us. Like we have come through book distribution. Like some of you may know, when I was very young, I was a fanatical Christian, total fanatical Christian. I saw these Hare Krishnas. I was 14 years old. They were having a Harinam. So being a fanatical Christian, it was my duty to go and save them. So I went to them to save them. It was a tent campaign. It was Ram Navami, actually. So one devotee, being very intelligent, he gave me this SSR. And he didn't want to say anything. He said, "Oh, just take this book." So reluctantly, I took that book. And that same night, I read 60 pages of that book. And I got the mercy of Krishna. And if somebody as fallen as me can get that mercy of Krishna, we just got to put these books in the hands of other people. And you watch the magic, Krishna's magic takes over. So from all of us who are here, there's at least 100 of us here, I think. Isn't it? More, maybe? Can we have a show of hands of those of us who would like to participate in the, whatever our abilities, 1 book, 5 books, 10 books, 3 books. Can we have a show of hands? We can do a little better than that. Hare Krishna. There we go. Thank you so much. So Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, you're going to guide us how we're going to do this? Yeah? Thank you so much. And we have enough books in stock, right? Because there's so many hands, I'm wondering if you have enough books in stock. You do? Good. So thank you so much. And the marathon starts officially tonight, I think, and ends on the 31st of December. So Marge, be waiting for these scores. When we get them for Sandton, I think the Durban Temple has pledged to do 10,000 books. Huh? And Sandton has pledged to do 1/3 of that, 3,300. Hare Krishna. So 3,300 doesn't appear to be such a big stretch for us here, and we hope we can do it. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.
His Grace Govardhan Prabhu ki. Thank you so much for that, devotee. So this transcendental book distribution, for giving out Srila Prabhupada's books, you'll get so much of mercy. Prabhupada used to look forward to hearing the Sankirtan results every day, and that was one of Maharaj's main services in the Bhaktivedanta manor, where he would telephone all the different Sankirtan parties and get their results so that they could offer it to the deities the next morning. So let us do the same. I'm sure Maharaj will be eager to listen to all the scores every morning. So please get involved. Even if you can't take a pack of books, take 1 book. Try to give out 1 book. And you don't have to sell it to anyone. You don't have to be afraid of anything. Wherever you're working or wherever you're shopping or whichever doctor's rooms you are visiting, mistakenly just leave it behind and walk away. That's all. You don't have to speak to anyone. So please, please try it out. So thank you, dear devotees. And again, on this last night of Kartik, we want to acknowledge the devotees, especially His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj, for all of his association that he has given us, and he's given us so much here over the last few months. We are very, very grateful to it, Maharaj. And because Maharaj is leaving shortly on the 4th of December to go back to Durban, and we pray that he comes back soon to grace us with his association. But we are very, very grateful, and we like to present him with this Maha garland from Srila Prabhupada to show our appreciation. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj Ki. We want to also acknowledge His Grace Govardhan Prabhu, who's stepped in here officially over the last few months and just created a whole whirlwind of stabilizing this this project here and giving so much of his heart to it. So we really want to offer your name to Prabhupada's lotus feet today in our gratitude, Govardhan Prabhu. So thank you so much for all your help. And we also want to thank the devotees that come every morning to dress Srila Prabhupada and serve Srila Prabhupada. We want to thank the ashram devotees who give it their all and the utmost best every day. The cooks who are always here to cook these wonderful feasts. The devotees who are taking care of Tulsi Devi. The devotees who are going out and preaching services such as Harinam and book distribution. The devotees who are here creating all the various festivals that goes into the decoration, the setup. We want to thank those devotees who are cultivating our students and the new seekers into Krishna consciousness. These devotees who are maintaining the property every single day by keeping the grounds clean, by cutting the grass, by mopping and sweeping. We want to thank all of them. We want to thank the devotees who are constantly funding the project, and then the devotees who are managing these funds as well. We want to appreciate their service. There's a team of devotees who are strategically looking towards taking ISKCON Sandton into the next chapter by creating a real flagship temple here in Gauteng. We want to appreciate their services. We want to appreciate the services of those devotees who are taking care of our children, those devotees who are leading the youth efforts. We want to thank the devotees who are maintaining our Govindas every day, where 1/3 of our funding comes in every month. We want to thank the devotees who are managing our social media and our communication channels. We want to thank the devotees who stepped up during the time of COVID to help with all the COVID protocols. And lastly, we want to thank all our well-wishers here at ISKCON. These devotees are truly the heartbeat of our temple, and we pray to Srila Prabhupada this night on Kartik Purnima, on Rasa Purnima, that they continue in their devotional service. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai. So devotees, that brings us to the next part of our program, where Maharaj will be giving Diksha initiation to Bhakta Suresh and his wife Usha. These devotees have been involved with our movement for the past 45 years. And today they're taking the serious step of initiation. At the same time, we want to acknowledge His Grace Shamla Prabhu and His Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj, who has cultivated and inspired their Krishna consciousness. So we remember these devotees today as well. So Suresh Prabhu and Mataji, please come up with your garlands. And I'll ask Shamasundar Prabhu to please assist us with the archman process.
Suresh. Just move this slightly. No, no. Whole thing. No. Slightly. Yes. Oh, okay. Good. As Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu said, Suresh and Usha Kumari have been associated with ISKCON for many years. I've known particularly Suresh since I think 85. And you'll be interested to know their family name. Do you know what it is? Makan. Krishna is Makan Chor. So it's just so appropriate and nice. He is fine. I mean, anyway, he's stolen their hearts for many years. And now the theft is sort of complete or something. And the whole family are devotees. Father's such a nice devotee. Brother, just a wonderful devotee. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Do the Ashmans. Yeah. Om apavitra pavitra va sarva vastam gatopi va yasmaret pundarikaksha sa bhaya bhayantaraha suchihi Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. Om Keshavaya Namaha. Okay. Om Narayana Namaha. Om Madhavaya Namaha. Hare Krishna. So, Om Apavitra Pavitra Va Sarva Vastam Gatopi Va, whether one is contaminated inside or outside, if one just takes the name of the Pundarik Aksha, one is considered to be pure inside and outside. So, the name of the Pundarik Aksha will be given by the spiritual master to Suresh and Usha Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Suresh Ji and Usha Kumari. So first you, Suresh, tell us what are the 4 regulative principles you're vowing today to follow?
No eating of meat, fish, no eggs, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling.
Very good. And how many rounds of Hare Krishna mantra every day?
16 rounds.
Minimum, right. You can always do more. That's
Thank you, Maharaj.
okay. All right, pass the mic over. And Mataji, you tell us what are the 4 regulative principles you're vowing to follow from today?
4 regulative principles that I'm vowing to follow today are no meat eating, fish or eggs, no intoxication, no illicit sex, and definitely no gambling.
Very good, thank you. And how many rounds minimum?
I promise to do 16 rounds minimum of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra chanting.
Very good. Okay, you can take the mic. Right, so first Suresh Ji, your name. We're going to give you a name of Lord Krishna. It means that he's Krishna, who is the blissful, extremely blissful, blackish blue colored boy. That you are the servant. So from today on, Suresh, your name will be Shyamananda Krishna Das. Yeah. Shyamananda Krishna Das Prabhu Ke. Thank you and congratulations. Very nice. And Usha Kumari. So I'm going to give you a name. Now your name, Usha Kumari. Usha is the daughter of Aniruddha, Krishna's one grandson. Usha Kumari means her when she's little girl, you know, like less than 10 years old, basically, or even a little less than 6 or 7. So we are going to sort of, what would you say, bring you up a bit in maturity and even just in position. We're going to give you a name. It's a name of Rukmini. Yes, a name of Rukmini, who is, and it's the name of Rukmini as a very beautiful, very sweet and qualified teenage girl. From today on, your name will be Yadu Kishori Devi Dasi. Yadu Kishori Devi Dasi Ke. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So well done. I'm very happy to, having known you for so many years. And of course, you were to be initiated by Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and that had been there for quite some time. But anyway, we all know Krishna, sure, Krishna's arrangement takes precedence. So I am your servant. I'm the servant of Bhakti Charu Maharaj. Please keep a nice focus on Maharaj as your Siksha Guru. Yes. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So now devotee, excuse me, yes, go ahead please.
Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj, we have a few announcements to make.
Yes.
So thank you very much, devotees, for coming through for today's wonderful program. What a special night it turned out to be with so many devotees out here in the garden, with the wonderful initiation ceremony, as well as the launch of the book marathon that we have in place. Devotees, with the last month of Kartik, we have had so much of help and support that has come through. So we just wanted to also thank the wonderful devotees for coming through, for all the devotees in the background that Prabhu Chaitanya Prabhu has been mentioning as well. But very specifically today, I'd like to also thank our decor team for putting up this wonderful altar that we have out here. The decor team being managed and assisted by Atish, Suhail, Vrajavasi Mataji, and Geeta Mala. So let's give these devotees a loud, big Hari Hari Bol. We also like to thank Rukmani Priya Mataji for bringing her wonderful deities, her Radha Shama Sundar devotees. Shri Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki Jai. And in devotees, we also have had many different feasts and various different festivals that we had. And so many sponsors have come forward to help with the boga so that they could cook for the devotees, so that we could cook wonderful prasadam for you as well. So we would like to take this opportunity to thank the wonderful sponsors for the past few festivals, being Kirtan Singh, Keshika Govinda, Suresh Prabhu, and Usha. Well, we have to change the names now, okay? We have Larry Ramdani, and these have been some of our sponsors in addition to so many others that come and help. So let's give these devotees a great big Hari Hari Bol!
Hari Bol.
Right. So devotees, today there was a feast that has been cooked for you. You will be able to enjoy this at home tonight. The cooks that have been in the kitchen today, we'd like to thank them for their hard work, being here very early this morning. And those cooks in the kitchen today has been Radha Astami Mataji, Ananda Chandrika Mataji, Pashi Mataji, Mathura Mohan, Mathura Mohini, Gangotri Mataji, and Madhurika Priya, and a little bit of Sadhu Sangha. So let's give these devotees a wonderful round of Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, devotees, thank you for these wonderful devotees that have been cooking and sponsoring our meals as well, keeping us gladly and well in Krishna consciousness. So devotees, the next part of our program is going to be Damodar Astakam. We will be singing the Damodar Astakam. We will have a pujari that will be conducting the arti at this time. And at the same time, each and every one of us in the garden will have an opportunity to offer our final lamb to Damodar on the most auspicious last day of Kartik as well. So in terms of the procedure, what will happen is that we will have a table that will be brought up very close to the altar here. You will come up row by row, and I will cue you to come through. So row by row, you'll be able to come forward, pick up your lamp. When you pick up your lamp, you'll go over to the altar. For those of you who are new with this, you will take the lamp, which will be burning a fire lamp, and offer it to Lord Damodar by making 7 circles around Lord Damodar. When you make these 7 circles, you want to pray really hard to Lord Damodar so that you can get his mercy, especially in this particular month out here. So you want to offer your love and your heart to Lord Damodar and make 7 circles around Damodar. Once you're done, devotees, there'll be a table where we'll allow you to take your lamp and place it down there, health and safety, more specifically for your the fire control as well. So we'll leave your lamps down at the altar right there, and then you will return back to your seat. And then we will cue the devotees. Obviously, COVID is a reality, so we still need to make sure we maintain our social distancing. Please also keep your mask on at all times as well. We'd also like to thank our COVID team who has been helping and supporting us for this great 30 days and keeping us all safe. No incidents. Let's give our COVID team a great big Hari Hari Bol.
Hari Bol.
Jai devotees. So we will start the Aarti. Maharaj, would you like to lead the Kirtan today?
I have been ordered to by Vibhu Chaitanya Prabhu, our leader.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj ki. So Maharaj is going to lead us into Kirtan for the Damodar Astakam. There will be some song copies that will be circulated somewhere. So if you don't know, after 30 days of practicing, you can use the song copies. And when we do that, we'll have the Kirtaniers by Krishna Balaram Youth Group going to assist us with the instruments out here. When we do the Kirtan, devotees, just to remind you, you'll come up here, collect your in a single profile, collect your lamp, do your Aarti, and then you can leave your lamp down at the altar, go back to your seat after that. Devotees, after the Aarti is completed, that will bring us to the end of our program. We have our book distribution team that's out there ready to give you your book packs. So please grab the opportunity to pick up some of these books. And these books will be what you'll be using to distribute as well. We have various different pack options. One is going for 125, and the other one is for 200 rands. So there's 2 packs of books, and you'll get lots and lots of mercy, Srila Prabhupada's book. So once you are done with your Aarti, you're welcome to go over to our book stand, led by Shamananda Prabhu and his brother Loka Prabhu. They'll be able to assist you and guide you in terms of which books you'd like to try. If you haven't done book distribution before, this is an awesome opportunity for you to start as well. It's one of the best ways that you can grow your bhakti in Krishna consciousness. So thank you very much, devotees. Also, earlier on, in terms of our congregational development, Dinesh Krishna Prabhu and his team with Jaitreta Prabhu have been capturing information because we are trying to build up our database and grow our database to understand and know you all better. So thank you very much for sharing your information. Also, if you haven't joined our WhatsApp group and channel, please feel free to contact me and I'll be able to add you into that list. We have a congregation of almost 600 devotees right now. So that is wonderful that we are growing this. And also, after today's program, we will have a program once again here in ISKCON Sandton on the garden this Sunday night. Okay, so Sunday, not night, but Sunday at 3 p.m., we will have a program with His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj again. So the booking link will be sent out tonight. You'll have an opportunity to book for that program. So don't miss out on the opportunity once again on Sunday. So devotees, I'm going to hand you over to the wonderful care of Maharaj to take us through Damodar Asakam. We'll ask for the Pujari to have himself in readiness. And then devotees, one row at a time, starting from the front, everyone will have an opportunity to offer a lamp. And thank you once again. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande.
Okay, and the lamps are back there, is it? Or the?
Yes, Maharaj, we'll bring the table out right here.
I see, okay. All right. So, harmonium player is Balaram Prasad Prabhu, yeah? And the song copies have been distributed, have they? Oh, okay. There's the song copies. Let's try and get them out. Namameshvaram Sachit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Prajamanam. Yashoda Biyolo Kaladavamanam Param Reshtamatyan Tatodruchagopya. Rudantam mohonetra yukmam rijantam karamboja yukmena satankanetram. Mohoshvasakam patrirekankakanta Stitagraivam damodaram bhaktibadam. Itidrik swalila bir ananda kunde Swagosham nimajantam akyapayantam. Tadiyeshita geshu bhaktarjitatvam Puna prematastam shatavriti vande. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadim va nachanyam vrineham vareshadapiha. Idam teva purnata gopala balam sadame manasya virastam kemanye. Idam te mukam bojam atyantanilaya vritam kuntalai snigda raktais jagopya. No. Just a bag. Mohoshchumbitam bimba rakta darame manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai. Rakta darame manasya virastam alam lakshalabhai. Namo Deva Damodar Ananta Vishnu Prasida Prabodhuka Jalabdi Magnam. Kripa drishti vrishtyati dinam bhatano grihane shamamagyam edyakshi drishya. Kuvirat majopada yurnaiva yadvat Tvaya mochito bhakti bhajo krito cha. Tata prema bhaktim swakame prayachcha namokshe grahome sti damodareha. Namaste studamne spuradiptidamne Twadiodarayata vishvasya damne. Namo Radhikaya Tvadiya Priyaye Namo Nantalilaya Devaya Tupyam. Namameshwaram Satchit Anandarupam Lasat Kundalam Gokule Brajamanam Yashoda Biolo Kaladavamanam Param Reshtamatyan Tatodruchagopya Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jai Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jai Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Jaya Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radhe. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol, Haribol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, Haribo. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo, 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 Haribo. Let I go, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Let I go, Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astaras Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON Svandracharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Anant Kodi Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sigahas Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Shamkund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Shri Mayapur Dham Ki Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ki Shri Shri Yashoda Damodar Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Gaur Premanandi. All glories to their Simul devotees. All glories to their Simul devotees. All glories to their Simul devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. It's Purnima, right? It's Purnima. It's Purnima, full moon. You can see the Rasa Purnima. The Rasa dance is going on.